Good morning.
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 Yes, one more time. Good morning.
Morning.
Debbie.
Do a little better than that, right? Energy drinks, that should wake you up, get you going. So, it's Monday.
Or give you a heart attack.
We charged off the weekend. Weather's looking good. 70s, 80s. Should be pretty classic out there. We're digging this. So, refresh. So those remember we've had some kind of meetings about fun mindset. So let's go back. Who remembers the red light meeting?
Oh yeah.
Right? Everybody remember red light meeting, right? We talked about
If
it a
you don't,
lot.
we've talked about
Those
it.
little red lights ruin your day. Pretty simple. I've actually heard a number of you say that, which is really cool that it stuck. We talked a little bit about, a while back, we talked about green lights. This goes a little farther back. What can green lights do?
Don't mind me.
They get you pretty excited. They can get you pretty going. I mean, it's a great positive. It's that cool feeling when you hit all those green lights. When you hit every single green light on the way into work, how do you feel? What's your day going to be like?
Great.
Right? It's going to be awesome. So we know that. So there's one we didn't talk about though. Right? It's going to be easy. We're using stoplights for motivation here. Yellow lights.
Accelerate.
Okay, so we'll come to this. So, what is the difference between red lights, green lights, and yellow lights? Assume these two are lumped into one and yellow's in the other.
Yellow suggests you stop.
Okay? So, suggest, right?
I would disagree. Yellow's telling you to slow down.
Okay? It's telling you to slow
It's not
down.
a suggestion.
Austin says what? Accelerate.
Gotta make a decision.
Anything else you get when you see a yellow light? No, is that pretty much it? This is everything? It's a suggestion, slow down or accelerate?
Like JJ said, you gotta make a decision. Are you gonna slow down or are you gonna accelerate?
Right.
One of the two.
So you are forced to make a choice.
Unless you're behind someone that makes the choice for you.
Okay? But then they've made their choice, right? Decision, choice. So you are forced to make a choice. This is a huge piece of what we do. So I think about this. I was coming in this morning, right? And I've had this. I've thought of this for a while. But sometimes you put out an energy, and that's kind of what like the universe gives you. Well, this morning I'm all set to talk about yellow lights today. I'm revved up, and do you know I hit just about every yellow light this morning? And I was faced with a lot of decisions because we all have that. Because what happens? So you're driving. Let's say the yellow light's from me to maybe the wall away. What are you going to do?
Go. Put some gas.
You're going to go, right? Because it's almost unsafe to try to stop in that short of a distance. That can be a problem too. So you say, you know what, yellow, here's my suggestion. I don't even need to accelerate at this point. I'm just gonna head through the light, right? Pretty simple, choice has been made. Now maybe it's from me to first row of cars outside. And I'm going maybe 35, 40 miles an hour. Okay? Now it's, okay, I probably should try to stop, depending on conditions. Maybe it's icy, maybe it's wet, maybe there's other factors involved there. I probably should try to stop. Now it's me to, the grass away. Okay, we know we should probably stop, but some of us have that split-second reaction of, boy, if I just wound this thing out, gas car, whatever, could I make it through safely? And what's the fear of going through a yellow light? What always is it kills you a little bit when you go through the yellow light. What changes? It changes to red, right?
Was there a cop nearby?
Was there a cop nearby, right? Survey the scene. Because we know there's pedestrians, there's people walking, there's all that. But what happened? Did it change red? And if it changes red, mid-intersection, do you feel kind of bad for a split second? Because now you're that jerk that just blew the red light.
No.
Yes.
Austin doesn't.
No,
I think most people might.
If you're a cop, like I'm gonna work on that one. I don't give a shit about
You're more worried about the punishment than necessarily society's reaction to you
100%.
acting like you're acting. Okay, that's
I
fair
totally
enough.
went through a red light on Saturday on my way here on my way home because it was late and I was running late for dinner and I was outside going and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to hit this before, and I went right through it by Walgreens on.
Blew right through the
And I
red.
was like, oh well.
Fortunately, nobody was hurt.
Well,
Okay?
it had just turned red.
I don't advise going through red lights necessarily. So, but the reason I like yellow lights, and this is a really great way, so when we're working with our guests, when we're trying to sell, green lights are easy, right? Lay down, flopper. They give you all the information. You have all of everything, and it's basically, boy, this seems seamless, easy, done deal, right? We know that. We know exactly what a green light sale is like. You feel like you're the king of the world, queen of the world. This is my dojo. Okay? How about a red light deal? If you even get to a deal, right? We maybe hit some kind of an objection, we just couldn't overcome it, threw some kind of a curveball at the end, you get to the end of it, and now you're frustrated. Now don't let that ruin your day. Reflect on what maybe you could have done different, and then let's move on. Just like we talk about with the red light mindset. You're gonna have those red light guests, those red light deals, those red light mindset. Wait for the next one because there's another green light coming. You got to just keep going. But now when you get this yellow light guesses we'll call them, and there's an objection. You are faced with a choice or decision on how you're going to handle said objection, right? So we train for this stuff. What can we do to get better? What if a guest says this? What if we're placed in this position and they want to think about it and shop around? What would you say to that? Hey, I just want to think about it and shop around. Anybody? We're all valid, right? So we know our objections. We know our price objections. We know our V-auto objections. So we're faced with a decision. That's the decision I'm going to use. In this case, that's my accelerate, my slow down, my whatever. I'm getting through this yellow light. Now, I would say, based on our yellow light, our choice, our decision making, at the end of the month, we run a lot of yellows. 1 yellows. Do we not? If we get more objections at the end of the month, does everyone in here seem to push a little bit extra? Why? Because you're closer to the finish line. Maybe because even if it's the same distance, it's the same objection you heard 2-3 weeks prior with a different guest, you now know this is the end of the month, this is go time, this is crunch time, I need this last deal, I'm one away from the next tier, this is a big number for me for Subaru, for whatever it is. You now are faced, and I find that we are much better in our decision making and much quicker in our decision making at the end of the month. I would love if there's a way to bottle that energy up and use that throughout the month and go into every single deal. So when you're faced with an objection, is it a red light objection or is it just a yellow light objection we can work through? That's really what we have to decide. So you're going to get those today. You're going to get those in the next 4 days because we only have a couple new cars available. We got a bunch of pre-owned cars. We've got some cars that deliver. There's things going on in the world. There's things going on in the economy. There's all sorts of objections and things out there that you're going to be faced with. How are you going to work through them? Because you're 4 days from the end of the month here. Every one of you, we have some people, there's kind of like a 4-way tie at the top. They're all within 1 or 2. Not everyone's having this killer month, but everybody's having an average month, average to good average. So let's push. We got 4 days left. We have the cars, we have the deliveries, we got the time to deliver the cars. All we got to do is adapt to these yellow lights we're going to get in the next couple days. Does that make sense? Everybody follow me? Simple? I'll tell you, you'll never look at a yellow light different. So I'm coming down this morning, and there's this one light that it 99% of the time it's red. It's the one right at the bottom of the hill there, and I pretty much always get to sit and watch everyone go through it until another car shows up. Well, this morning, on top of the hill, I'm coming down the hill, and I can see a green ascent, and it's sitting at the stoplight. Well, that's a good sign for me because that means it's going to likely set this stoplight off. So I pin it, right? I'm winding this thing out. And it's not very fast on a little bike, but I'm winding this thing out, right? I'm going. And now it turns green, and this green car goes through. And it was a matter of me to light away, and I'm like, is it going to change? Is it going to change? Is it going to change? And that's, I guarantee we've all had that thought. Think about it. You're driving around Rib Mountain, wherever you're driving, and you see it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put as much energy as I can in the universe. Hang on to that green light. Do not flip yellow, because some of these yellows in town are like yellow-red. Like it just doesn't make sense. There's no math to it. So I'm coming down the hill, and I'm getting closer, and I'm getting closer, and now I'm just about to the first row of cars, and okay, I'm going to make it, boom, pops yellow. Well, I'm going pretty fast at this point, and I know my option is to go through it. So I did get through it before the red clicked, but I'm not advising to run yellows. Let's make sure, take a step back. I don't advise you go around speeding to get through yellow lights, but the mindset was, what was I going to do? I knew the choice. I knew that the time and everything against me in this one would have been a challenge. I probably should have just slowed down, but it's the end of the month. I wanted that one extra deal. I wanted that one extra yellow-green light to get here, to get me here a few extra minutes early, to not have to work with that, to not get in my own way. And so I did. So I would encourage all of you, every guest you get in front of the next 4 days, you have to have that mentality. Imagine yourself coming down, or next time you're driving home, look at that yellow, watch for that yellow. Put the energy out in the universe that it's going to stay green, and if it turns yellow, it turns red as you're going through it. So I can tell you, it's pretty cool, it's pretty exhilarating. So I was pretty wound up and excited when I went through. I was almost cheering inside my helmet, so. But that's neither here nor there, so. Any questions? Yellow light mentality, rest of the month, we can do it? Commit? Yeah? Cool.
I'm saying
All right.
That person in the green ascent should have really sat at the light a little bit longer to keep it green longer.
I know, they should have waited for me, frankly. They were trying to get away from me. They thought they were being chased by this
motorcycles on the road.
chased by this
Way far behind.
rabid
I
monkey.
did
All
see
right.
him